Elena Cross woke up screaming. Her body jerked upright, her breath coming in broken gasps as her hands instinctively grabbed her chest. It didn't hurt, but she could still feel it. The blade, the cold steel sliding into her heart. She looked down at her hands, expecting to see blood. There was nothing. Her room was quiet, dark, normal, but she knew what she saw. It wasn't just a dream. It was a memory. Tears filled her eyes as fragments of it replayed in her mind. The night air cold against her skin, her body weak, her heart slowing, and him, standing in front of her, holding the knife. His face was the worst part. Not because he looked angry, not because he looked cruel, but because he looked heartbroken, like killing her was destroying him too. "I'm sorry," he had whispered. Then everything went black. Elena pressed her hands against her temples, trying to stop the images. "Why?" she whispered shakily. She had never seen that man before. So why did it feel like she had known him forever? The rest of the morning felt wrong. The world looked the same. Her room, her house, her parents downstairs making breakfast. Everything was normal, except her. She felt like a stranger inside her own body, like part of her belonged somewhere else, somewhere older, somewhere darker. She walked slowly to the bathroom and looked at her reflection. Her green eyes stared back at her, familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. For a split second, she saw something else, a different version of herself, wearing different clothes, covered in blood. She blinked, and it was gone. Her heart pounded harder. "What's happening to me?" she whispered. Downstairs, her mother called out cheerfully, "Elena, happy birthday." Birthday. Right. She had turned 21 today. She forced herself to smile and walked downstairs. Her parents hugged her, gave her gifts, laughed like everything was normal. She tried to act normal too, but inside, she was terrified, because deep down, she knew something had changed. Something had awakened. Later that afternoon, Elena left the house to clear her mind. The air outside was cool, the sky painted in soft shades of gold and orange as the sun began to set. She walked slowly down the street, her thoughts tangled in confusion. None of it made sense. The memory, the pain, the man, he wasn't real. He couldn't be real. And yet, she could still see his face perfectly, his dark hair, his pale skin, his eyes filled with regret. She stopped at the edge of the road, waiting for the light to change. That's when she felt it, a presence, watching her. Her body froze. Her heart began to race. Slowly, she turned her head and saw him, standing across the street, exactly as she remembered, exactly as he had been the night he killed her. His dark hair moved slightly in the wind. His black coat hung around him like a shadow, and his eyes locked onto hers. The world disappeared. The sounds, the people, everything faded. It was just him and her. He didn't look surprised. He didn't look confused. He looked like he had been waiting, like he had finally found something he lost. Elena's breath caught in her throat. It was impossible. He wasn't supposed to exist. He wasn't supposed to be real. And yet, there he was, alive, watching her. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "It's you?" He didn't move, didn't speak. But something in his expression changed. Pain, recognition, fear, like he knew exactly who she was. Like he remembered everything too. The light changed. Cars began to move. People walked between them, blocking her view for only a second. But when they passed, he was gone. Elena's heart dropped. She spun around, searching desperately. He had disappeared, just like he had appeared, like a ghost or a memory. But she knew the truth. He wasn't a ghost. He was real, and he had found her again. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind replaying the moment again and again. His face, his eyes, the way he looked at her, like he loved her, and like he feared her at the same time. She didn't understand it. But one truth had become impossible to ignore. The man from her memories existed, and somehow he was connected to her. She didn't know how. She didn't know why. But deep in her soul, she knew this wasn't the beginning of their story. It was a continuation. And somewhere in the darkness, he was watching her again, waiting for the moment he would have to choose, to love her or to kill her again. Elena didn't tell anyone. How could she? How could she explain that she remembered dying and then saw her killer standing across the street like nothing had happened? They would think she was insane. Or worse, they would think she was lying. So she stayed silent. But the silence didn't bring peace. It made everything louder. Every shadow felt alive. Every reflection felt wrong. And every second, she felt like someone was watching her, waiting. 3 nights passed, 3 sleepless nights. And on the 4th night, she saw him again. Elena was walking home alone, her footsteps echoing softly on the empty street. The night air was cold, wrapping around her like invisible fingers. That's when she felt it, that presence. Her heart began to race. Slowly, she stopped walking. She didn't turn around. She already knew. "He's here," she whispered. A voice answered behind her. "Yes." Her entire body froze. The sound of his voice sent a shock through her soul. She turned slowly. And there he was, closer this time, much closer, standing only a few feet away, his dark eyes locked onto hers, filled with emotions she couldn't understand. Pain, relief, fear, love. "You're real," she whispered. His expression tightened slightly. "I was hoping you wouldn't remember me." Her breath caught. That single sentence confirmed everything. "You remember too," she said. It wasn't a question. It was the truth. He didn't answer immediately, but his silence was enough. Memories flashed through her mind again. The knife, his apology, her death. "Why?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Why did you kill me?" The question shattered whatever control he had left. Pain flickered across his face. Not guilt. Not exactly. Something deeper. More broken. "I didn't have a choice," he said quietly. Rage sparked inside her chest. "You always have a choice." He shook his head slowly. "No, not with this." She didn't understand, and that terrified her more than anything. "Who are you?" she asked. He hesitated, like saying it would make everything worse. "My name is Adrian Vale." The moment he said it, something inside her reacted. Her heart skipped, her chest tightened. The name felt familiar, too familiar, like she had spoken it 1,000 times before. Adrian, her killer, her past, her curse. "What am I to you?" she asked softly. He stared at her like she was everything and nothing. "You were my wife." The words destroyed her. Her mind went blank. Her breathing stopped. "That's impossible," she whispered. But deep inside, she knew it wasn't, because the moment he said it, she saw it, a memory, not of her death, but of her life, standing beside him, wearing white, his hand holding hers, his eyes filled with love instead of sorrow. She stumbled back slightly. "No!" Her hands trembled. "This isn't real." But Adrian didn't move, didn't argue, didn't deny it, because he knew the truth was already inside her. "You weren't supposed to remember," he said quietly. "Remember what?" He looked at her like the answer would break her. "Our lives." Plural. Her heart pounded harder. "Lives," she repeated. He nodded once. This wasn't the first time. The world tilted beneath her feet. "What do you mean?" His voice dropped to almost a whisper. "You've died before." Fear crawled into her chest. "And every time," his jaw tightened, "I was the one who killed you." Her entire body went cold. The air disappeared from her lungs. "No," she whispered weakly. It couldn't be true. It couldn't be. But her memories, they were growing stronger, more vivid, more real. She saw different places, different times, different versions of herself. And in every single one, he was there. And in every single one, he killed her. Tears filled her eyes. "Why?" she begged. Adrian stepped forward, slowly, carefully, like she might break. "Because if I don't," his voice cracked slightly, "something worse happens." Her heart shattered. What could be worse than this? He didn't answer, because he couldn't. Not yet, not when the truth would destroy her. He reached out slowly, his hand hovering near her face. Not touching. Not yet. I tried to stay away from you this time, he whispered. But you remembered. His eyes filled with quiet despair. And that means... He couldn't finish the sentence, but she already knew. It meant it would happen again. The same way. The same ending. Her death at his hands. She stepped back, fear and heartbreak colliding inside her chest. I won't let you kill me again, she said. Her voice was weak, but determined. For the first time, Adrian smiled, not with happiness, but with sadness. That's what you said last time, too. A cold chill ran through her body, because something deep inside her whispered the truth. She had fought him before. She had run. She had begged. And in the end, she had still died. Adrian looked at her one last time, memorizing her, preparing himself. For what it's worth, he said softly, I never wanted to hurt you. And then he vanished into darkness, leaving Elena alone with the terrifying truth. He wasn't just a man who killed her. He was a man she loved. In every life, Elena couldn't breathe, not because something was choking her, but because the truth was, her husband, her killer, the same man, over and over again, in every lifetime. She stood alone in the empty street long after Adrian had disappeared, her body frozen in place. Her heart pounded violently, like it was trying to escape her chest. You've died before. His words echoed in her mind. And every time, I was the one who killed you. Tears ran silently down her face. She didn't want to believe it, but her soul did, because the memories weren't stopping. They were getting stronger, clearer, more real. She stumbled backward and collapsed onto the cold pavement, clutching her head as another vision forced its way into her mind. A different time, a different life. She stood in a beautiful garden, wearing a black dress. Adrian stood in front of her, his hands trembling as he held her face gently. I'm sorry, he whispered, just like before. She felt the knife enter her chest again, felt the pain, felt the betrayal, felt the love, then darkness. Elena screamed and the vision shattered. She lay there shaking, gasping for air. It's real, she whispered. It's all real, and if it was real, then it would happen again, unless she stopped it. That night, Elena didn't go home. She couldn't. She knew he would come back. He always did. So she waited. Hours passed. The world fell silent. And then he appeared, standing in the shadows at the end of the street, watching her, waiting. She stood slowly, her legs trembling. Tell me everything, she said. Her voice was no longer weak. It was demanding. Adrian stepped forward slowly, his dark eyes filled with quiet sorrow. You shouldn't be here, he said. I'm not running anymore. Silence hung between them. I deserve the truth, she continued. He looked away, like he couldn't bear to see her face. You won't like it. Tell me anyway. He hesitated, because once she knew, everything would change. You weren't supposed to remember this soon, he said quietly. Remember what? His jaw tightened. The reason I kill you. Her heart cracked. There's a reason? She asked bitterly. Yes. He stepped closer, not as her killer, but as the man who loved her. The first time you died, it wasn't by my hand. She froze. What? His eyes met hers again. It was by yours. The words made no sense. I would never. You didn't mean to, he said gently. His voice was filled with pain. It wasn't you. Not completely. Fear crept into her chest. Explain. He took a slow breath, like even saying it hurt. You are not just human. Elena. Her heart pounded faster. In your first life, you were born with something ancient inside you. Something powerful. Her skin felt cold. What kind of power? His voice dropped to a whisper. The power to destroy everything. Her mind rejected the words instantly. No. But deep inside, something reacted. Something dark. Sleeping. Waiting. In your first life, your power awakened, he continued. And when it did, you lost control. Another vision hit her. She saw herself standing in the middle of a burning city. Fire everywhere. People screaming. the sky black with ash, and Adrian standing in front of her, not as her killer, but as her protector. "I tried to stop you," he whispered. Tears filled his eyes. "I tried to save you." The vision shifted. She saw herself crying, begging him, "Please, stop me." She handed him the knife, her hands shaking. "I don't want to hurt anyone else." The memory ended. Elena staggered backward, her entire body shaking. "No!" Her voice broke. "No, that wasn't me." But she knew it was. Adrian stepped closer. "In every lifetime since then, your power begins to awaken again." His voice cracked. "And every time you asked me to stop you," her heart shattered completely. "You're lying," she whispered weakly. But he wasn't. She could see it in his eyes. He wasn't her enemy. He was her guardian, her protector, her executioner. "I made a promise to you," he said softly. "A promise to save the world." Tears fell freely down her face. "By killing me?" His silence was the answer. She wanted to hate him. She wanted to run. But she couldn't, because now she understood. He wasn't killing her out of cruelty. He was killing her out of love, to save her from becoming something worse, something monstrous, and that terrified her more than death itself. Adrian reached out slowly, his hand trembling. "I was hoping this time would be different." Her voice was barely audible. "Will it be?" He didn't answer, because he didn't know. But far away, something inside Elena was already beginning to wake up again. Something ancient, something powerful, something that remembered everything. And this time, it didn't want to die. It began with a heartbeat, not Elena's. Something else, something older, something waking up. She felt it deep inside her chest, like a second pulse moving beneath her skin. Slow, heavy, powerful, ancient. Elena fell to her knees, gasping as darkness flickered around her fingers like black fire. Adrian saw it immediately, and his heart broke. It was happening again, faster than ever before. "Elena," he whispered, her head snapped up, her eyes wide with terror. "I can feel it," she said, her voice trembling. "It's inside me." The air around her began to distort. The ground beneath her feet cracked slightly. Reality itself was reacting to her awakening power. Adrian stepped forward cautiously. "We don't have much time." She stared at him. Both of them knew what that meant. The end, like every lifetime before. But this time, she remembered everything. "Do it," she said softly. His body froze. Her voice broke as tears streamed down her face. "Before I hurt anyone." His hand trembled at his side. He had done this so many times. He had killed her in different centuries, different worlds, different lives. Every time she begged him to stop her. Every time he broke his own heart to keep his promise. But this time, he couldn't move. Because this time, she wasn't just a duty. She was Elena. She remembered him. She loved him. And he loved her. "I can't," he whispered. Her eyes widened. "You have to." Her voice cracked. "You promise me." He stepped closer, shaking his head slowly. "I promise to protect you." A tear slid down her cheek. "This is how you protect me." Darkness surged around her suddenly, stronger now, more aggressive. Her breathing became uneven. "It's getting hard to control," she admitted. Adrian knew what came next. He had seen it before. The moment when she would stop being herself. The moment when the power would take over completely. He reached into his coat slowly, his hand wrapped around a familiar handle. The knife, the same knife, the one he had used to end her life in every lifetime. His hand shook violently. Elena saw it, saw his pain, saw his love. She stepped toward him, not away, never away. "It's okay," she whispered. He couldn't breathe. "I'm not afraid," she continued softly. Her hand gently covered his, the one holding the knife. "I trust you." That made it worse. So much worse. His vision blurred with tears. "I don't want to lose you again," he whispered. Her expression softened. "You won't." Darkness exploded outward from her body suddenly. The sky above them turned black. Wind roared violently around them. Her power was taking over. Adrian knew he had seconds left. Only seconds. He raised the knife slowly. his entire body screaming in protest. "I'm sorry," he whispered, just like every lifetime before. She smiled softly. "I know." He moved. The blade plunged forward and stopped right before her heart. His hand refused to go any further. He couldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. The darkness inside her surged violently, reacting to his hesitation. Reality began to tear apart. Buildings cracked. The sky fractured. Her power was escaping. "Elena!" he shouted. She screamed as the darkness consumed her completely. Her eyes turned black. Her body lifted into the air. She was losing herself, becoming the destroyer she was always meant to be. Adrian's heart shattered. He had failed. He had doomed the world. But then she looked at him, through the darkness, through the power, through the chaos. She saw him, and she remembered. "I love you," she whispered. 3 simple words. But they changed everything. The darkness froze. Her power hesitated, because for the first time, she wasn't afraid. She wasn't fighting it. She was controlling it, not as its victim, but as its master. The darkness slowly began to calm, to obey, to submit. Adrian stared in disbelief. It had never happened before. Never. She slowly descended back to the ground. Her eyes returned to normal. Her breathing steadied. The world stopped breaking. Silence fell. She was still herself. Still Elena. Still human. Still his. He dropped the knife. It hit the ground with a quiet metallic sound. Impossible. She stepped toward him slowly. "I remember now," she said softly. "In every life, I was afraid." Her hand gently touched his chest. "But this time, I'm not." His voice shook. "How?" She smiled faintly. "Because this time, I wasn't alone." Tears filled his eyes. For centuries, he had carried the burden alone. The guilt, the loss, the endless cycle of killing the woman he loved. But now, it was over. She was free. He was free. The curse was broken, not by death, but by love. She leaned forward, resting her forehead against his. His arms wrapped around her instantly, holding her like he never wanted to let go, because this time he wouldn't have to. "I won't lose you again," he whispered. She smiled. "You won't." For the first time in all their lifetimes, he didn't have to be her killer. He could finally be her husband. Again. Forever.